Hi, hello. Welcome to this editor webinar and thank you for joining us. I'm Jennifer and I am part of the Learning and Content Management team. I'll be hosting today's session and joining me are my colleagues Kim, Sri, and Charlotte. If you have a question at any time, please use the Q&A box to send your questions at any time so that we may answer to yours directly in the Q&A field. And please note that we cannot answer any journal-specific questions. For the best view, you may wish to drag the central bar to the right on your screen to enlarge the screen which I'm sharing. Our session is being recorded, and once the recording is available, we will go ahead and share a link with you. So the topic for today is Editorial Manager Training Session for Associate Editors. And I hope that in the next 60 minutes, we will be able to enhance your understanding on this particular topic. So let's go ahead and take a look at the agenda for today. So basically, to get started with the agenda, the first thing we will look into is about the editor registration and login. And we will also take a look at on the editorial main menu and the editor to-do list as an associate editor, and how as an associate editor you can deal with a new submission and how you can manage the review process and how you can take addition on a particular paper. And then finally, we will go ahead and show you the help and support which we have in hand. So for today's session, I will be using the training site with the dummy papers and dummy users. The training site is a good replica of the live environment, but will look slightly different. So don't worry if you see things on the screen that you don't see normally when you just log into your own profile. So let's move on to the Editorial Manager training site and get started. Shri, are you able to see the Editorial Manager screen there?
Yes, Jenny, I can see now.
Great. Okay, so the first thing on the agenda was about, the registration and login. So if you are a new associate editor getting on board, the first thing which you will have to do is go ahead and register now in your particular journal so that you get registered in the Editorial Manager site for your particular journal. Now, this is how the journal will look like, and you will have your journal specific cover page here and the banner there, which will, let you know that you are on the right journal homepage. So that's about the new registrations. And with regards to if you're already having an account with Editorial Manager as an associate editor, all you have to do is just put in your usernames there and your credentials, the password, and then just click on Editor Login. So this takes us to the associate editor profile of your particular, account. And so this is exactly how your page will look like as an associate editor. So if you just take a look here, it says the role as associate editor, and that's how your screen will look like as well. So before going into the details, I would like to get started with update my information feature here. Now, this is a very useful feature where you have to go ahead and update your profiles as an associate editor, where, if you are a subject matter specialist and if you would like to go ahead and update your keywords or classification terms, then this is the right place which you will have to go. Just go there and click update my information and keep your profile updated with the set of keywords and classifications so that, the main editor might look into it. And, based on that, you can also be receiving papers. So that's something which you will have to keep your profile updated. And that is exactly where you will also have to go if in case, you're changing university or your email address is changed. So you will have to, change things in your profile. Then that's exactly where you will have to go and update your profile. So the next thing which we're going to see here is the review grid. Now, the review grid is a quick link to each of the categories here. So instead of going into the respective folders with reviews complete, you can just go ahead to the respective hyperlinks here and look for papers with 2 reviews complete or 1 reviews complete. And this particular link will get activated based on the assignments which is currently there in your particular profile associate editor account. So that's about the quick overview of the review grid. The next one which we have here is the search feature. Now we do have search submissions and search people. Now search submission is a basic feature where you can go ahead and search papers based on, article title, manuscript number, author names and things. So when you just click on this link, you will go into the criteria parameter skill there, and there you can just go ahead and enter your search and click there, which will give you the view of the submissions which you're looking for. The next one is on the search people. Now, search people is something like you can go ahead and look for authors, reviewers, or editors within the journal as such when you just click on search people. Now, that will again take you to the criteria page where you can just go ahead and use the email address or the first name and last name of the people and go ahead and do a search. Now, the main part of the discussion will be is the editor's to-do list for today, because this is something which you will be working on a day-to-day basis. So that is something which I would like to talk about for today's session. So before getting started into each of these details, I would like to give you a heads up on how the paper flows into each of these particular folders so that you understand the workflow completely. So as an associate editor, all your assignments will come up to this particular folder called new assignments, be it, the main editor assigning you the papers, or, be it the editorial office goes ahead and assigns you the paper, or even in some of the journals where you have the authors choosing the editors based on section categories. So even in that case, all of the papers, all of your new assignments will land up in this particular folder or new assignments. And right from here, you will get started as an associate editor, where you will just go ahead and look into the PDF of the paper, just understand the content, look up if it is worth it for the peer review, or you also have the privilege to go ahead and say no before the peer review as well. So that's something which you can do as an associate editor. So once you decide that the paper will have to go to the peer review process, so you will just go ahead into new assignments and then go ahead and invite reviewers. So when you invite reviewers for a particular paper, the paper will move from new assignments to reviewers invited no response folder. Now, the reason why it moves to no response folder is that you have just invited the reviewer, and we have a deadline specified to the reviewer based on your journal, deadline specific that how much ever days which the reviewers would like to needed for the invitation either to accept or decline. So once the reviewer goes ahead and accepts the invitation, then the paper moves from this particular folder to submissions under review, and there the review process starts. So once the reviews, all the required reviews for the particular paper gets completed, now the paper will move from submissions under review folder to submissions with required reviews complete folder. Now, this is where you will come in and check as an associate editor to see the completeness of the reviews and then go ahead and take the final call on the paper. Now, apart from these 4 folders, we also have, 3 other folders in place, such as submissions requiring additional reviewers, submissions with late reviews, and submissions with active discussions. The submissions with requiring additional reviewers is again, falls into the scenario where, if in case the paper needs more additional reviewers, then it will send you a notification automatically based on the automatic reviewer reminder set up for your journal. And from there, you will understand that, okay, now the paper has moved into this particular folder, so I will have to go ahead and, get started with inviting additional reviewers. Now, one quick tip for all of you to make sure that your papers don't get, or your assignments don't get stalled at the same place, is always go ahead and when you go ahead and invite the primary reviewer, always make sure to at least invite 2 to 3 additional reviewers as an alternate, so that your paper will not get stalled there, and the peer review process will be going on without even much of your intervention there. Because so when you go ahead and assign the primary reviewers, you will also add the alternate ones, so that if in case the primary reviewers do not respond, the system will automatically promote the alternate ones, so that the review process keeps going, and you really don't have to worry much about coming back again and again to the same paper and looking up. So that's about that particular quick tip on inviting more alternate reviewers, or just have 2 to 3 alternate reviewers. That would do fine. So the next one is submissions with one or more late reviews. Now, I know that as an editor, most of the cases, we will have reviewers coming up late and asking for deadline extension. So when they come back late, or if they don't respond to the review within the time period, then the paper will move to submissions with one or more late reviews. So that's where it lands up when you have late reviews for the paper. The submissions with active discussion is something which I'll come back later. So I hope you understand the whole workflow process of how the paper flows into each and every, folders. So before going into and getting started with a new submission, I would also like to talk about the color codes at the left-hand top corner of each and every folder. Now, these color codes are called as editor signposting. Now, what is editor signposting? Why would I need that as an associate editor? I know. So why would you need that as associate editor? It's just a quick, link, or before even you go into the respective folders. So as soon as you log in, you just see the color codes and you can just understand, what are the status of the papers under each and every folder. Now, to understand that better, I'm going to talk about what each color code means. So basically, the green category means that the papers have just come in and it's fine, and it stays in your new assignments folder or in the respective folders. And then if it's amber, it's like 5 to 10 days in your particular account. And then red, which is an alert for you that you will have to just go on board and complete it as soon as possible. Now, we do have some thresholds, that is like 10 or 15 days or more than 10 days, which is being assigned. And this particular editor signposting is also being put up for all the editor roles in Editorial Manager, just to give a quick summary for the editors before even they get started. So as soon as you log in, you see the color codes, you understand, and you get your priority right for that day. And based on that, you can just work. Now, this is not just with regards to the folders as such. So if you just go into the new assignments, you will also see the color codes in the left-hand corner of each and every submissions as well. So if you see here, you have a green one there, and then come down, you have an amber and red. Now, this will also give you an heads up as in, to the editors, as in that basically you will have to get started first with the red ones, and then with the amber and the green. So doing this and following this particular editor signposting will help you to make sure that you're ahead of your particular assignment pattern, and you're top of your schedule as well. So that's a quick thing about editor signposting. Now that we have moved on and I have entered the new assignments folder, I would like to move to the second part, where we're going to go ahead and talk about a new submission, how as an associate editor, you will be handling a new submission. Now, so if you see here, there are quite a lot of action links here. So I'm just going to talk about the most important ones right here, so that you understand as an associate editor what is the need for each of them. So the first one is about the view submission. So view submission is basically a PDF version of the whole submission. So you can just open it, download it, and view it, and understand the content and see if it is worth it for the peer review or not. Now, the next one is similarity check authenticate results. So that is the basic plagiarism check, which the editors run for a paper before getting started. So if you just see at the right-hand screen, it also gives you the percentage of the particular paper, which is like 86 is too much because it's a training site. But then if it's going to be a real-time scenario, then I think you will have a default setup for your respective journals, like 20% or less than 20%, which you can just have a check or a discussion with the main editor-in-chief of your respective journal. So when you just click on this particular folder, it just gives up the results, and it will just show up the results as in, what are the categories which is being plagiarized, or from which particular sources that the author has picked up all of these informations. So that is something which you can click on that link and look out for. And then the next one is about the duplicate submission check. Now, duplicate submission check is again a check which is being done, but you might ask me, this is something similar to the similarity check as well, right? Yeah, it looks similar, but then there is one major difference there. The similarity check is basically, it is done across all Elsevier journals and it gives you the results there. But then the duplicate submission check is basically a check which is being done within the journal. So for example, I as an author, Jennifer as an author would have published a paper sometime in the 90s. And you coming on board as a new editor will not know if I have published the paper in this journal or not. So there are high chances where I can just go ahead and duplicate some parts of the paper and quickly submit it as a new paper. So when I do that, you will be able to quickly check that with the percentage there, which comes up on the screen next to my paper. And you will also understand that, that, okay, this particular person is putting up a duplicate submission. So you will have to go ahead and check and see if that works. So if it is the case, then you can go ahead and, take the decision as a reject or something based on your particular decision there. So the next one, which we have here, is the details tab. Now, the details tab is, so the details tab will give you all the information you need about the author and the manuscript. So, you can just go ahead and see all the information, like, the corresponding author, the co-author. We will also have the abstract here, the short title, the section category, the keywords, the classifications, the initial date submitted. And we will also see, the editors who is on board, assigned to the paper, the main editor, and also the associate editor, if it is being assigned. And then if in case the review process have started, then you will also see the whole of, the reviewers who have been assigned to the paper. And then down, you will also see some of the, funding body information from the author's end, if that is something which you need to look up for. Now, quickly moving on here is about the keywords and the classification. So now classifications are predefined set of terms which are put up in the journal, in order to make sure that the authors select the respective term which is closely associated with the manuscript in the journal. So it's basically benefiting both the journal and also to the editors. Ask me why. It is useful for the journal on a longer run because, as an editor, the main editor, or you can go ahead and analyze on the number of topics which are coming into the journal and understand, what are the things coming up and, which are the topics, getting high on scale and which needs improvement and things like that. So it's good for that kind of a discussion. So that's why we have predefined classifications put up for most of the journals. And if you're going to ask me how is it beneficial on the other way, we also have, a kind of a setup there where you can also search reviewers based on classification matches. So, when I go ahead and get started with, the how to manage the review process, I will also show you how to invite reviewers based on these classifications and how you can go ahead and you will be able to see the results there. So that's about the classifications part. Now, moving on to the manuscript notes flag. Now, this is a flag where you can just go ahead when you just initially take a look at the paper. You might want to enter your initial comments. So, you can just go ahead and put your initial comments so that, and then click on just say display manuscript notes flag so that, when you come back, you will be able to, come back to the same flag, which will have the comments there, and you can just come back and check it on the paper. right here, you will have, the details, the manuscript flags on, and you will see the notes of the particular, details put up there. So the next one, which we will also talk about, is about the email icon right next to either the author or even the editor as such. Now, the email icon is something where, if in case if you would like to contact the editor in chief, or if you would like to directly contact the author or even the reviewer. So if there are reviewers in this particular paper, then you will also see an email icon next to their names again. So you can just go ahead and click on the email icon and go ahead and send them a customized email, asking for some clarity on the paper, or, if there is anything which you really need to check with them, then you can also go ahead and use the email option and, use that particular feature there. So that's about the email icon and the details tab. Now let's quickly move on to the next one. So the next one which we have here is initiate discussion. Now this is one of the most highlighted feature in Editorial Manager. Now you might ask me, what is it? So discussion forum. So we call it as the discussion forum. So this gives a chance for the editors to go ahead and initiate a discussion on a particular paper, with the rest of the editor panelists in your particular journal. So initially, when we have a doubt on a particular paper, we go ahead and check it with our co-editors, or, or even with the main editor-in-chief via email, by just attaching the PDF of the paper, right? So you really don't have to do that anymore. You can do that little bit of chat right here in this particular feature. So if you just go ahead and click on, initiate discussion, so you will have the pop-up opening. So Shri, are you able to see the pop-up which is opening up?
Yes, Jenny, we can see now.
Right. Okay, so you just go ahead and enter the topic which you would like to go ahead and discuss. Like, say, for example, if you would like to discuss about the, scientific content of the paper. All right. So, and then you just put down your initial comments asking, what do you think? And then down here, you have the editor candidates. Either you can go ahead and select the editor-in-chief, or, your colleagues on the other associate editors or action editors whom you would like to talk about this particular paper. So there you will just go ahead and say start discussion without sending letters. So this will go ahead and send an alert to their respective profile that, the discussion has been initiated from your end, and you're calling up for a discussion on the paper. Now, you might ask me, there is no letters being sent. How can the respective editor check on that? Yeah. So we did see earlier about a folder called submissions with active discussions folder. So this is gonna, show up there here for the rest of the editors, saying that you have 100 posts, and when the particular person goes ahead and clicks into the folder, they'll be able to, look up that you have, called them up for a discussion on a particular paper. So when they go ahead and check on the discussions, they'll be able to see a particular topic, and they can, quickly chat with you on that. So let's quickly go ahead and check about, a particular chart which has been done there. So it can be of any topic, like about a particular figure or a table, or even about similarity score. So if you just see, they are talking about the figure 7, and they say, I think it's not okay, please let me know your comments. So these are the editor participants, and they have done a quick chat there. So if in case you've been either involved in, or, either you have initiated, all of the active discussion will be put up in this folder, which you can go ahead and cross check. So that's about the discussion forum. And there's one more point there is about, you really don't have to worry whether if it will get archived and things, not at all. You will have the whole of the history right there in the particular folder with that associated with that particular paper. So anytime you just come back, you will be able to, check on those discussions which you have initiated. So that's about the quick chat feature, the discussion forum. The next one is the history link. So history link, which will give you a quick overview of the whole status history and the correspondence history of the particular paper, like, how the paper is moving from one particular, from the editor to the associate editor, and then from the associate editor to the review. So all of this, you will be able to see it here. The next one is the file inventory. Now, file inventory is like, you will have all the individual files available there. So that is something which you can, if in case you would like to take a closer look at any of the individual files given by the author, you can just go there and download the respective files which you need. The next one is about edit submission. So this edit submission is something where, if in case, you really need to go ahead and edit the submission based on an author's email or something like that, then you can just go ahead and edit submission. But a quick tip on that is, always when you receive queries from the author that, they have forgotten to include something, or, if there is something which we can do, please make sure to go ahead and send these type of queries to the journal manager so that they'll be able to help and edit the submission on your behalf, because, editing the submission and redoing the PDF again is going to take a little bit longer. So, you really don't have to, take that too much of a time on a particular paper. So you can just send over those queries to the journal manager of your particular journal, and ask him or her to assist the author in that case, and you can work on the rest of the things which you have. So that's about edit submission. And then invite reviewers is something which we will look into. So this is something which you will get started on, how you can manage the reviewers, how you will go ahead and invite reviewers. Now, solicit commentary is again a feature where you would go ahead, if in case you want the author to submit a commentary on the particular paper, you can go ahead and solicit commentary, ask the author to submit a commentary on the paper. Now, the three links which you see here, similar articles in Medline, PubMed, title search, and Scopus. Now, these are embedded links in Editorial Manager, so you can just make sure to use these links to, quickly search similar articles of the same article type. Go ahead and look in Medline or PubMed about this and understand the content. So these are just embedded links to make editors' life easier. So you don't have to go ahead and open too many tabs on your particular system. So the next one which we have is submit editor's decision and comments. So this is exactly where you will come and click on this and get started with your final decision on the paper after reviewing your the referee's comments. Now, send email is again the same email icon feature which we saw in the details tab. Now, you can also use this particular link and go ahead and contact either the reviewer or journal office or the author or even another editor associated with this paper in case there are any. So linked submission is basically if in case the editor has, the author has submitted a part A and part B, then, it will show up a linked sign here. So which will give you an alert that he has submitted part A and part B, and you will have to go ahead and check on the content, basically to understand the continuity of the whole scientific study involved in it. So that's about the quick action links overview for you. So the next part of the session would be on the third agenda there, on the fourth agenda there, on how to manage the review process. So we will just quickly go ahead and get started. So you will just have to click on invite reviewers there. So when you go ahead and invite reviewers, so you will land up in review selection summary page. So right there, you have a lot of features there. But then before getting started as an associate editor, go ahead and understand the reviewer settings for your particular journal. So under review settings, you have 3 parameters there. The first one would be is this submission will move to submissions with required reviews complete folder as soon as, how much our reviews have complete. Now, this too is a default value put up there, but then, it differs from journal to journal. So you will have to check with your main editor or the journal manager, or you can quickly go to a particular submission and check on the review settings to see what is the journal specific deadlines for your particular journal. So, for each and every paper, you will be able to go ahead and change it, like, you are just looking into the content and you kind of see that you will need 3 reviews for this paper, then you can just go ahead and change change it accordingly. So based on whatever you change or whatever is the number which you put up here, the whole, the system will take up and it will understand that, only after 3 reviews are completed, the particular paper will go ahead and move to required reviews complete folder. The second one which we have is automatically uninvite reviewers who do not respond to an invitation within so and so days. Again, this is not a journal specific or a default setup there, but then, you will have to go ahead and understand what is the journal specific deadline for the invitation which is being sent to the reviewer. So it can be 7 days, it can be 14 days, or it can even be 21 days. So probably you will have to check on all of these deadlines with your journal manager or with the main editor of the journal before getting started with the review process. Then finally, the last parameter here is automatically unassigned reviewers who do not complete a review with so and so days. Now, the reason why it's been turned off or it's put up as 0 is, not all the editors would prefer to keep a strict deadline there, asking the reviewer to just, put a bar there and say after 21 days or 30 days, you have to submit. And then if you don't, the system will automatically unassign the reviewer. So usually, editors don't do that. They always encourage the reviewers to come back. So they give them the grace period of, 3 to 4 days there. So that's something which, you will also have to check. So basically just understand the review settings of your particular journal, have a discussion about this with the editor-in-chief or with the journal manager, and then get started. So that's about the review settings. So the next one is about the review search. Now we do have 2 types of searches here: search my publication and find reviewers using Scopus. The first one here is more of the internal search, where you will go ahead and search reviewers in the reviewer database or the journal database. So basically under the journal database, you have all of these categories: search for reviewers, suggested by author, search by classification matches, and search by personal classification as well. So again, you also have, some of the filters there which you can go ahead and choose. So the first one would be is people with all the reviewers who are having all reviewer roles there. And the second one is you can go ahead and search with all the editorial board members. And then you also have, people searching with the entire database as such as well. So that is also a type of filters there. Now let's go ahead and see how that works. So I'm just going to go ahead, click on go, and, go ahead and select a couple of reviewers. So that's the criterion there. So you can either go ahead and, if you know the person by name, you can just go ahead by first name, last name, or email address. But, if in case, you have their email address in hand, the best would be just to go ahead with the email address, because it just gives you the exact results, and you will not have too many results. So you can just save time there. So I'm just going to go ahead and get started. I know her person with the last name field. So I'm just going to go ahead and search for the particular person. So now that's going to come up with the results with all of the last names coming up as field. So that's about that. Apologies that the training site is a bit slow today. So yeah, it's up. Yes. So you can see that, we have a lot of last names with field. So I will just go ahead and invite a particular person as the primary reviewer, and also as an alternate reviewer, and also as a propose. Now, before going ahead and inviting them, I would like to give you the differences between these 3 categories. The first one is about the primary reviewer or the main reviewer here. So, you will go ahead and invite them as main reviewer. So before even getting started and inviting them, I would suggest you go about and, take a look at the warning signs which has been, put up by the system. So if you just see for this paper, it says that this particular person is an alternate reviewer for 6 submissions, and he's also a proposed one for 24 other submissions and things like that. So also take a look at their classifications, their agreed statistics, and the invitation statistics, which is up there at the right hand corner, so that it will give you an idea if this person is available to take it up, or if he's too busy and things like that. So based on that and based on his subject matter specialist, you can go ahead and invite as a main reviewer. So he will get an email stating that you have been invited for this particular paper as a reviewer. So he will receive an invite and he can either go ahead and accept or decline based on his availability. Now, the second one is about alternate reviewers. So we did talk about this earlier that, I did say that you will have to go ahead and at least have two alternates reviewers in the category so that it will help you to keep up the review process going. So now alternate is something like that. So if the primary reviewers do not turn up within a particular time, which we did see in the parameter, so if they don't come back within the time, the system will automatically send them email stating that since you haven't turned up within this particular time, we're going to go ahead without your review or something like that. And then the alternate reviewer who comes up there will get promoted as a primary reviewer. And that's why, we always recommend you to go ahead and promote alternate reviewers there. So the next one is about proposing reviewers. Now, proposing reviewers is something which you can add them either to the primary or to the alternate reviewer at a later stage. So if in case you kind of feel that you might need people on board at some time, so you just go ahead and propose few and keep, so they'll show up in the list, so that at times if you really want to invite them as main or alternative, you can put up there. Now, this is also being used by some of the main editors before assigning the papers to associate editors. So, if in case, if the editor-in-chief is looking up to a paper and he kinds of feels that, oh, I know some experts in this field as reviewers. So he goes ahead and, proposes few reviewers for you and then assigns the paper to you, to your particular assignment. So if you just go to the reviewer selection summary page, you will be able to see the proposed reviewers, which is being given by the editor-in-chief. So you can just go ahead and see if you would like to invite them, or it's again your call to go ahead and either invite them and take them as primary or alternate, or go with your own choice of with your own set of reviewers. So that's completely fine with you. So now I'm just going to go ahead, click on proceed. So right here, you will see, the letter which is coming up on the screen. So it will just come up on the screen with the deadlines, asking for how much time you will have to give the particular reviewer for, submitting the review. So that's something which will come up. So I kind of find the system bit slow today. Apologies for that. So yeah, you can see here the name of the particular reviewers and the letters associated with them. You can also customize the letter if you would like to, write to them something very specific. And then here you have the due dates. These are the, the default numbers which the system will pick up automatically based on your journal setup. So, it can be 21 days to review or 30 days to review based on your journal pattern. So you will have to go ahead and understand that. So when I just go ahead and say confirm selections and proceed. Now, what happens is the system goes around and sends letters to the respective reviewers. And then I can, if you see, an email has been sent to the respective reviewers. And then Jack field is also been added to the list of proposed. So I go back to the review selection screen to see what has happened. Yeah. So if you can see, we have, the primary reviewer, the alternate reviewer, and also the proposed one, which, at a later stage, either you can invite them as primary or alternate from the proposed reviewers there. Now, yeah, as I said before, if the particular primary reviewer doesn't turn up with a, specific time, if they do not accept or decline, then within 14 days or whichever is the deadline specified for your journal, the system will automatically uninvite the primary reviewer and promote whoever is there in the alternate category. So, there are also something called linking of alternate reviewers to the main reviewers. So you can just click on the link symbol there and it will ask you to which particular main reviewer you want to link them up. So, if I just go ahead and say, so for this particular main reviewer, this particular alternate reviewer will be linked up. So which means that, if in case this particular primary reviewer rose field doesn't turn up within the given time, then the linked alternate reviewer will be promoted. And there can be 4 or 5 in the alternate list, but still you will just have the linked one who will be promoted because this person has been linked to the primary reviewer. Now this is mostly done in the case wherein if you really need only the subject matter specialist of a particular topic wants to review this paper, and only if in case they are not available, then you go with the rest of the choice or rest of the options. So in that case you can link them. So if you don't want to link them, you're fine with any alternate ones getting promoted, then you just have to click the same link there and you can just unlink. So that's about how you can link the alternate with the rest there. Now, going back here, we will also look into the second one, suggested by authors. Now, for most of the journals, or at least for some of the journals, we will have, the authors suggesting the viewers, which will be a mandatory step for some of the journals. So in that case, you have this drop down there where when you just go ahead and say suggested by author, all reviewers, you will see the author review, the reviewers suggested by authors. So that will come up on the screen there. So you can also invite the author suggested reviewers as primary, alternate, or propose them. So that is also available. So you can just go ahead and send them an invite there. So that's about the alternate reviewers. So going back to the review selection summary page, the next drop down is about classification matches. So classification matches is, which I spoke about earlier, a predefined list in the journal where you can search reviewers based on classification matches. So, as an editor, if I need to search reviewers based on microeconomics or, international economics, I just click on submit. So, automatically the reviewer, results will get filtered based on this particular topic. So if you can just see microeconomics, and then you can see the microeconomics in the particular reviewer's classification. So based on the classification, you can go ahead and invite them as primary, alternative, or proposed. So that's about the classification matches. So going back to the review summary page, the next one is about the personal classifications. Now, personal classifications are nothing but if in case, the editors would really like to go ahead and do a, normal search about, they just want to do a keyword search. So they can also do a keyword search in the particular list and then go ahead and filter reviewers based on that category. So that is also available there so that you can just go ahead and do the personal keyword search. So that's about the personal classification stuff. So yeah, so if you see there, it will just show you what are the, keywords available within the predefined list. And from there, you can just go ahead and add and search for reviewers. So going back to the reviewer thing. So the last category which we have under the dropdown of internal search is suggest reviewers. Okay. So suggest reviewers. So before I go into suggest reviewers, I would like to talk about my suggest reviewer preferences here. So you as an editor can go ahead and set preferences for your particular journal, wherein you can go ahead and exclude the following from the list. Like you can have the people from the same institution or from the same city and things like that. Or you can also sort the candidate reviewer list based on the importance of the total number of completed papers. So if you want the order to be changed, you can also do that. So that's something which you can go ahead and do it as well. So let me just quickly go ahead and submit, and then we will get started. So based on this, if you see when you just click on suggest reviewers, the search will get redefined for you based on the particular search which you just did. And we also have my reviewer display preferences. So if in case you want the reviewer results to be displayed as per your preferences, you also have that feature which you can go ahead and adjust accordingly, say show all personal classifications for the review candidate, or just show only the classification matches with manuscript. So things like that. So you can also do that there, and then come back to suggest reviewers to quickly do a search. So based on this particular preferences, you will get the search results for this particular criteria. Now, moving on to the next part here on the managing the review process. So the next search is about find reviewers using Scopus. That's something which you will have to go ahead and click on go. So just opens up to this particular screen. So where you will have the system recommendations, search on Scopus, and interested reviewers. So just starting with what is the system recommendation. Now, this is an automatic tool which runs and it takes the metadata from the Scopus and also from all the it also takes the reviewer information from all the Elsevier journals. And this particular search happens in the back end as soon as the author submits the paper, and the results will pop up only after 24 hours of the paper being submitted by the author. So that's something which you have to look out for when you are looking for results under system recommendations. So if in case you're looking for a paper which is just come in and you just click on system recommendations, they might not be available for you. So you will have to come back after 24 hours to look for this particular automatic tool to give you the results. Now, what is it about the results? What is it is going to display there? So it's going to display the top 100 reviewers at the left-hand corner of the screen, based on the metadata which it receives from Scopus and from all other Elsevier journals. So if you just take a look at one of the reviewer here, you will be able to see the similar works, the author keywords, the subjects, Scopus subject areas, and journal history, other Elsevier journals history, and their recent publication history. And then down here you will also see the H index, publications, and citations up there. So based on all of these understanding, you can just go ahead and determine if this person can be invited to the paper or not. So another question which might come up to your mind is about okay, 100 is too much for me. How would I go ahead and filter? Yeah, we do have an option there. So we can just click on filter recommendations. So it just opens up the H index, author keywords, and Scopus. Now you can also go ahead and adjust the range on the H index for you, or you can also select the author keywords or subject areas from the Scopus, and then just say apply and close. Now, based on this, you might get filters up coming up there. So that's something which you can go ahead and, refine the search from 100 to less than number. So if you just see based on the H index and humans keywords, the results are very few. So from this, you can go ahead, look for the statistics, understand if this person is okay with the paper, and then go ahead and agree him as a review of the paper. So that's about the system recommendations for you. The second tab here is about search on Scopus. Now, this is something, it's a very manual keyword search, which some of the editors prefer apart from the automatic artificial intelligence recommendations there. So if in case you would like to go ahead and do a quick search on Scopus using keywords, you can go ahead and do that. You can also select the year of publication published since, and then just go ahead and make a quick search. So when you search based on the keywords, this particular data will run up on Scopus and give you the results. So here are the results. So you can see the matching works. You can understand the publication history of the reviewer. And as usual, you just have to click on add to the manuscript. So when you just click on that, it says added to the manuscript. So that's how you go ahead and add, from the simple keyword search. So the last tab here is about the interested reviewers tab. Now, since this being the training side, there isn't any results coming up there, but then the interested reviewer tab displays all researchers who have expressed the willingness to review for the journal on Reviewer Hub through, we have an option called volunteer to review option. So if they have selected that, then all of those reviewers will appear in the tab for your particular journal. So with this feature, you can search and select reviewer candidates on the Find Reviewer tool. So let me just go ahead and show you a snapshot of how it will look like, because this doesn't show much of a result here. in this particular tool. So let me just quickly go back to the presentation there. This is about the interested reviewer, tab, which I was talking about. So if your journal uses classification, then interested reviewers will be asked to select the, appropriate terms upon registration so that, you can go ahead and filter them based on, the invitation history, or you can also filter them on journal classifications and date of volunteering here, right here. And then you can go ahead and invite them as, again, the primary, alternate, or you can even propose them. So it's just simple as that, just seamless integration back there, just add them to the manuscript, like how you've been doing for the rest of the ones there. If your journal doesn't have classifications, some signals which you can help determine the best matches, like you can just cross-check the manuscript keywords and the candidates' published articles, their citation statistics, publishing history, and things, and then you can just go ahead with that particular thing there. So let me just go back to the main screen. Yes, so we have almost done with the internal and the external search options there. So that's about the feature on how to manage the review process efficiently and things like that. So let me just go back to the main menu there, and I will also show you up, you might have reviewers in hand, okay, and they might not be there in the journal database. So as an associate editor, how will you go ahead and add them there? So you can just click on register and select new reviewer. So that will just open up the email address for you. So you can just go ahead and invite a particular email address, and then just a minute while I just go ahead. I'll go ahead and just put now someone else there. So just click on proceed, and then you will have the first name, last name, and title. And then you just say register and send user. Now doing this, there will be an email which will be triggered to that particular user stating that you've been invited as a reviewer for the paper, you've been registered by the editor. So that's how you go ahead and register and select new reviewer for your particular journal. So this is just a one-time activity. So going forward, you will be able to search the same person in the journal databases, how you do it in the normal way of doing it. So the last one, which on the agenda, was how to go ahead and manage the decision-making process, or how to go ahead and make a decision on the paper. Now, as I said earlier, you will have to come back to submissions with required reviews complete folder there. Just go there, and you will just go ahead and understand the view and comments which you have done on the particular paper right here. So you will just go ahead, click on the review one, look into the rating scale and understand if it is good to go and things like that. But there can be cases or scenarios where, you might have a contradictory, information between two reviewers, like, some can say minor revision and the other one can say reject and things like that. So in that case, if you really need more clarity, or if you kind of find that one particular reviewer is giving you very, generic comments, then you can go ahead and use the reopen feature right here. So when you click on the reopen feature, the invitation window will again open for this particular reviewer. So, again, in the customized email, you can, in the email which you send to me, you can just customize and say, hey, you know what, I'm looking out for, more specific comments on the paper, because, it's difficult for me to understand why you have, arrived at this particular decision term. So that's something which you can use as a reopen review feature, which is available in Editorial Manager. So yeah, you're done with this and you are all okay with this. So you will just go ahead, submit edit additions and comments there. So you will just go ahead, click there and choose the particular decision term which you need. And if there are any attachments which is given by the reviewer, you will just go ahead and click on that, just see, and you just say allow author access. Now, the reason for doing this is, this will give access to the author at the author's end, so that the author will be able to see the annotated PDF if in case it's been put up by the reviewer. Now, as an editor, you are able to see both download and download sanitized copy. But as an author, the author will be able to download only the sanitized copy, which means that there will not be any reviewer identity visible to the author. So that's about download sanitized copy. So you just go ahead, save and close. And down here, you have something called the confidential comments to the editor. So you will just have to go ahead and give your confidential comments to the editor on why you agree with this particular decision term. So this is a very important feature for all the associate editors. You will have to go ahead and do that. And then down here, you will have to give your own comments to the author, as in why you say that you agree with this particular decision term. And down here, you will be able to see the individual reviewer comments, and you will also have the rating which you will have to give for every reviewer there. And down here, you also have some editor decision phrases there. Now, these are phrases which will provide consistent voice while communicating your editorial decision to the authors, and it also saves time. So, if in case you would like to choose anything, you can choose and just click on proceed. The next screen you will have is about the summary of the whole thing there, and then if you agree with all of these, just click on submit decision. So when you do this, the particular assignment from your particular profile or account gets moved on, and it will be notified to the EIC for final decision. Or if as an associate editor you have the privilege to go ahead and notify the option, then you will have the letter coming up there on your screen, and from there you can just go ahead and notify that to the author. So that's about submitting the decision there. So lastly, I would like to talk about the support and help which we have in place for all of you. So right in corner, you have the question icon there, which will take you to the resource center, and you will have the announcements, new releases and improvements coming up there. You can look out for that. And we also have some frequently asked questions. And we also have the Elsevier support, the register support team, who is available 24/7 via phone, chat, email. So you can also go ahead and contact them. So, but always go ahead and contact the journal manager of your journal in the first place. So when you just click on, Editorial Manager support, it takes you to a series of, editor guides to Editorial Manager, where you will be able to see, robust documentation based on each and every category. And you will also have, video files there, which will help you to understand how you can navigate between how to do things, in a systemized manner. So if you have some time, you can always go ahead and look out for all of these things which we have. And apart from that, we also have some training video guides, on several features here, which is available in all of these languages. You can also go ahead and take a look at all of this there. So that's pretty much about today's session. So I'm just going to go ahead, go back to the screen there. So thank you so much for listening to the content of today's session. We hope you found it useful. We are going to spend the last couple of minutes for the answers. So I'm just going to go ahead and pass it over to Charlotte.
Thanks, Jennifer. So we've had lots of questions coming through during the session, which has been great. It's really good to have interaction from everyone. So thank you for submitting your questions, and thanks to the team on the call for answering them. Given the time, we are at time now, and I know that Jenny just wants to share one more slide with a bit of information on it. So I'm just going to say 2 points. A lot of people asking about automated reminders. They do run, they're set on a journal specific schedule, and you'll need to check with your journal manager about them. And secondly, any suggestions you've made for development or ideas, thank you. We'll be passing them on to our development team, our product development team. So thank you for those. Okay, Jenny, I'll hand back to you for the final slides. Thank you.
Thank you, Charlotte. So as a reminder, before we finish today, there are other events which has been running up there in this Editor Learning Week. So you can go, you still have time to sign up for all of these topics there, put up on the screen. And it's the same link which you, did sign up for today's session as well. So we will post that link in the chat box for you. So you can also find the recording of all of these sessions available at the end of this week. So you will see the topics on screen, which we will be presenting during this editor learning week. So please make sure you avail this opportunity. So go ahead and sign up for the rest of the sessions. So the next one, that brings us to the end of the webinar today. Thank you so much for listening. So please take a few moments to complete the survey for us. So it's going to be a very short survey. You can just scan the QR code from your mobile phone, and it takes you to the survey link, or you can use the survey link which has been put up in the chat box now. So this survey will be open until the end of this week. So any information which you put up there is going to help us to create and deliver these webinars, the best or effectively. So after this session, we will send you an email, with some helpful links, which will cover the webinar recording, short video guides, full EM training videos, and some self-help materials. So please go ahead and look out for that particular email. So thank you so much for joining us today, and see you next time.